So I talked about the whole kind of premise of insects in agriculture and the way that they can be beneficial. We often kind of see them as pests in farm systems, and that's when you notice them the most. But they are underpinning all the processes that help to make crops and livestock productive. So I was talking about the range of services. I mean, pollination gets a lot of press, but we're talking about pest control and nutrient cycling, these really key things towards sustainable yield. So I was just taking people and the audience through that, through the lens of beetles, because I really love beetles and I work with beetles a lot. So we're talking about carabid beetles that eat crop pests and dung beetles that cycle nutrients in the pasture systems. I think that a lot of people are familiar with dung beetles from their National Geographic kind of things, of seeing them roll in piles of dung in African ecosystems. Well, we don't have those kinds of beetles that roll dung balls around on the surface of the soil, but we still have really charismatic beetles in the UK system. So we have beetles that dwell within the pile of dung and eat the dung from within, and we also have really important ecosystem service providers in the tunnelers, and these are often larger dung beetles. They take the dung down and they dig little tunnels underneath the dung pile, and they do actually roll balls, but we don't see them do it. They roll them down into the chambers, the brood chambers underneath the soil. These can be up to 2 meters down in some systems, so they take that dung down into the lower soil levels, as well as aerating the soil by channeling that down as well. So really helping to get those nutrients down into the lower soil levels to kind of help that yield, those grasses, those forbs grow more healthily in that system. So yeah, brilliant ecosystem engineers there. But we don't know a lot about it. There's not a lot of studies done comparatively. I've worked on carabid beetles for 4 years, and the literature on them is really wide and far-ranging because they're so apparent in farming systems. But dung beetles are so essential to UK cattle industries. There was a study that showed, this was from 2015, that dung beetles save the UK cattle industry up to 367 million a year. And that's in the services of reducing pest burdens in pastures by taking the dung down more quickly, but also in cycling the nutrients and making the pastures more productive. And there's a lot of figures around kind of the greenhouse gas reduction in those systems as well, and it's quantifiable figures that they reduce the greenhouse gas emissions directly from dung and within the pasture ecosystem.